What is the best value, the most widely available, well put together, great bottle of Campbeltown whiskey? And why is it Glen Scotia 15? Now, Springbank fans, there's a chat at the end. Don't worry, I like Springbank too, but you can't really get a hold of it that well. This, however, is everywhere. And for all of the right reasons. 15 years old as a minimum, 46%, unpeated distillate aged in first fill American oak. It is non-chill filtered, but it isn't natural colour, not yet anyway. Glen Scotia and the Loch Lomond group who own them are slowly working on that, but it's a very small diminishment in a big sparkling picture. I love this whiskey. I've tried numerous batches of it in the 8 to 10 years it's been around, something like that. Liked some batches, thought some were okay, really didn't like others, but that's fine because you can't like every batch of whiskey. But let's talk about it in the glass first, and then we can do all of our little Campbeltown chat at the end. The nose summarises what it is to be Campbeltown whiskey. Now I know there's no peat in this, but for those of you that like Hazelburn, even if you like Springbank, Springbank isn't that heavily peated. Yes, it is peated, but it's not the main characteristic of the whiskey, unlike Longrow or the heavily peated Kilkerran. And even with Kilkerran, it doesn't really have that smoky dominance. This, however, the saltiness is the key thing I get from this all the time. Glen Scotia 15 is such an incredibly saline style of whiskey. And then underneath that salinity, you get all of that incredible first fill bourbon influence of coconut, and pineapple and melon. At the minute, everything I'm trying that's coastal and or peated reminds me of grapefruit. I have no idea why, probably drinking too much tequila and mezcal. But there's grapefruit notes in it, it's honey, it's vanilla ice cream. And those tropical fruit notes of coconut and mango, they're a little bit downplayed when you smell it. But they are in there, and they're incredible. There are older versions of this whiskey available. There's an 18 and a 25, and there are some younger versions and limited edition releases and heavily peated Glen Scotias, which also taste incredible. But for me, this one has always shone in that range. Let's taste this. Saltiness, spiciness, wood influence, and a finish that would give any teenage liquid a run for its money. The first arrival is all of that beautiful, almost flaky sea salt profile. Then you start to feel the barrel influence sort of tingling around your tongue. First fill American oak is, in my opinion, the most incredible whiskey format. It's the best foundation for any whiskey, no matter what kind of whiskey you're making, in what country you're making it. I just believe first fill bourbon to be the absolute best foundation. You can always do little offshoots of things after that. You get that oaky, spicy, again like vanilla, coconut, pineapple thing. Meanwhile, as all that's happening, there's that tingle of saltiness and what I almost associate as like spice cabinet spices. There's little flecks of like Chinese 5-spice, that kind of sweetness and the spiciness kind of working together. And then you get some herbaceous notes of like really sweet basil. There's even some earthy notes to it. There's always like a kind of freshness at the end of the finish that reminds me of like biting into a tomato. That kind of earthy, sweet, tangy profile. And then you go back to smell it. It gets a little bit grassier. It gets a little bit like zingier with citrus and lemon. A little bit more intense on the barrel spice that time. Kind of like peaks in big areas and then pulls everything back down to give you all that wonderful intensity of flavour. The finish is just all fantastic cask influence. Big, rich, gentle warmth from oak, which is what you want. It's not over oaked in any way. And then the influence of that barrel, natural saltiness of Campbeltown whiskey, spiciness from ABV and age in those casks. It just mingles and creates this beautiful sensation of almost like chili pepper spice, and then you get some sweet notes coming out of nowhere like banana and like crisp green apple. Just unbelievable. I really, really love this whiskey to bits, and this bottle has gone down in quite a healthy manner, in a good way. But for me, we talk about Campbeltown whiskey, and I just think this is the absolute bee's knees. Score-wise, I think this like easily walks with like 8.5 out of 10. It is an absolutely remarkable, well-priced bottle of whiskey. In the UK, it's sub £70 a bottle. I think the last one I bought was about £68. It might have even been on sale, so maybe like about 62, 63. Just incredibly priced and always there. And that's the important factor for me. It's always there. Now, if you like really rare whiskey, obviously we can talk about Springbank and a little bit of the elephant in the room. I think Springbank are brilliant. I've got 2 bottles of 10-year-old downstairs. I've had numerous different sample bottles of the 12 cask strengths and 15s and 18s, and we've reviewed them. They've always been wonderful. I did do a review of Springbank 21 a couple of years ago that wasn't very well received because I called it bitter and not very nice on the finish. And I remember getting loads of downvotes for that. It was a very strange time. Cannot be critical of Springbank, but you have to be. You have to do this kind of thing. And we have to give them their pros. They're a small distillery. They have done some expansions, but it takes a while for that to come through, and they've never overly pushed product. And that's good. You want a distillery to stand by its principles. That's brilliant. But I can never get it. I can just never get it. I've been lucky to have 2 bottles of Springbank 10 downstairs from 2022 and 2024. I finished a 2020 release back in December. 15, haven't been able to get one. 12 cask strength, I don't mind. Like, it's okay. I don't love it, but it's okay. Never really fallen in love with the 18. 21, I love the fact they're always different batchings, but it makes it quite inconsistent, but in a kind of fun way. I've never tried a 25-year-old official bottle, and I've never tried a 30-year-old. Probably never will. And that's okay in the grand scheme of things, because I've never tried Macallan 25, but I don't really want to, so that's fine. But I just think when it comes to the Campbeltown conversation, the 3 distilleries that are currently there, the 2 more that are being built, I just think it's really difficult to not look at this whiskey and give it its plaudits where it's due, because there is nothing wrong with it. Batching can be a little bit infuriating at times, but that's the same with any bottle of whiskey you buy from any distillery that makes a batch product, which is 99.9% of them, no matter the size of that batch. And yeah, some people might get a little bit hung up on the colouring thing too, but that doesn't really bother me too much. You know, people who buy it for the colour, they're going to add colouring to it for that. But as soon as this stuff becomes fully natural colour, you know, there's no diminishments against it at all. And it's still really well priced. But that's my little review and sort of input into the world of Campbeltown whiskey. And for those of you that haven't tried Glen Scotia, if you're still on the Springbank train, cool, you must be able to get some somehow. But honestly, give this a look and give it a try. It's rare I find a bottle of Glen Scotia that I don't enjoy. Like, it's honestly rare. There's been a few festival releases that haven't quite ticked my box, but that's okay because they're meant to be different. But give the distillery a look, give it a chance. It's not like it's not as if it's a neglected thing trying to battle a giant, you know, hero, but it's something which I just think we need to pay more attention to because they do make quality product. And whether you want something peated or older or younger, it's all just really tasty. So please give them a shout. But that is my review of Glen Scotia 15, a solid 8.5 out of 10. Tell me your thoughts below. Do you really not like this? Do you really like it? Are you a Springbank diehard no matter what? It's Springbank only, or do you like to experiment where you can? But do let me know, because I look forward to having a good conversation with all of you, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.